This is my online tool review using Google Slides as an interactive notebook. Google Slides is a presentation app like Microsoft PowerPoint. Teachers have found that Google Slides can be used as an interactive tool with students by making a slide deck and giving students their own copy to use. The slide deck can then be used for taking notes and for completing activities. Last summer, I attended a webinar on how to make a Google Slide interactive notebook, and it changed my world. The main thing I took away from it was using master slides to create the page that you want with little chance of students accidentally changing it so that they complete the activity the way you intended. An additional good thing about using Google Slides is that the individual slides allow for natural stopping points. I can tell students to go to a certain number slide for the lesson or assign a specific slide for independent work. If this were a multi-page Google Doc, students tend to just keep going. Being able to say, do slide 13 is much more clear, and most students end up doing only the work that's expected. For my objective using the interactive notebook, I wanted to look at our Greek and Latin root program. I chose Google Slides to replace the vocabulary workbook we use in face-to-face school. Grades 3 to 6 in my district study Greek and Latin roots as the next step in reading comprehension, which is building vocabulary. Students need to be able to break the words into chunks, look for the roots, and use the meanings of the roots to help them figure out the meaning of the word. They also need to be able to use the words in context. The program is challenging and was going to be even more so if we tried to use the paper workbook during virtual school. So I looked for a way to take the best activities in the workbook and augment them to make an interactive Google slide deck. So how did Google Slides help me meet my objective? When I first heard about using Google Slides as a workbook, I thought, what's the point? They're not going to present it. But I was limiting my view of what Google Slides can do. It's so much more than a presentation platform. When used this way, the slide deck becomes a notebook for students to record thoughts and new learning, and to try out new skills the way they would face-to-face on paper or with their peers. So how do we make these master slides? And this is my favorite part about making the slide decks. Yes, I'm a nerd. The secret is to make a master slide for each slide you want in the deck. How to get to that is you have your menu up here at the top. And when you go to the slide menu, down here at the bottom, you see Edit Master. So if I click on that, you'll be able to see this was the master slide for the activity that was showing. And you'll notice it turned gray. So you want to make sure you're in this gray box when you are working on the master slides. If you click over here on the left, back to the regular, like with the white background, you're in your regular slides and students will be able to change those things. So I'm going to make a new master slide to show you how to do it. So let's go here to a blank one. The master slide becomes a layout that can't be changed accidentally. It also allows you to have the image in the background and add text boxes so that only the text boxes on the student view will move around. Because how frustrating is that when you click on one thing, but the object behind it moves instead? Making a master slide eliminates that. So I have an image already ready. So your tools up here, they still work the same. Just again, make sure you're in the gray background. So I'm going to click on Insert Image, and I'm going to upload it from my computer. It is this one right here. And it puts it into the master slide. I would like it to be a little bigger, so I'm going to drag it a little bigger, maybe not that big. I'm also going to move it, so now the image is there, and I can see over here, I'm working on slide 14, it showed up, so that's good. I'm going to move it down a little bit because I want to make a text box for directions. So anything that you want typed on your slide, but you don't want students to be able to change, also do that here in the master slide. So I can come over here to text box. I'm going to click on text box, make the text box, and then I can put my directions in here. And if it's something that you already have somewhere else, you can copy and paste. So this is the original actual workbook page of this activity, and my Adobe lets me copy and paste. So I'm going to do that just to save some time. Why reinvent the wheel? So put it in. I'm going to fix it to the font that I like. I'm going to make the word directions in red like they do, because I've done that on everything else. Oops. And then you may have noticed, where am I? That there were two questions. So I'm going to put the questions also on the master slide so that they will be less likely to be deleted, manipulated, changed. So I'll make my text box here for the question, paste it in, change the fonts, make another text box for the second question. I'm going to put that down here. Why doesn't it need to be that big? Where is it? What does it mean to be versatile? We're being versatile right now, right? Oh, I forgot the two. Number 2. Change it to the font I like. And there, that's everything I want on the slide that I do not want students to be able to change. So what happens now is if I go back to the actual slide, I'm going to go to slide 14 here on the left, where it's highlighted in yellow. Now the slide is there. This is the background. It's a layout. Like if you look at layout here, these are all the master slides that I made. And right now we are using custom layout number 2. So all these things, they don't move because they're in the master slide. So it can't confuse the kids if they click on something, it moves, they don't want to, or also they can't, delete the question and, I can't do my work. But I do need to make a spot now before I would give this to them. I need to make where they're going to answer. So if I come, make a text box, I'm going to put one over here. This is where I want them to answer question number 1. I make the text box. I make my text box neon green in my Google Slide just so that it's like super obvious that it's neon green. If you click in here, you'll be able to type. That was an issue at the beginning of the year. They would say, because you can't see the cursor here, but if I start typing, it's there. I need another one for the second question. So, nope, text box. Add a text box. And, it didn't change it. Sometimes it does it automatically. I need to make it green. And I like the 3-point border weight. And so now it's a slide where there's places for them to type their work, but then also the things that I want there, like what would be on a piece of paper, can't be moved. And also text boxes, if something happens while the kids are working on their copy and they delete the text box, they know how to add a text box, or it's easier for them to add a text box than to try to explain how to get the image back or the question, or if all these things were on the actual slide that they could manipulate. The only other thing I want to say, sometimes you have to think creatively about how you want to turn a paper activity into an interactive Google slide. This is a slide where they sort words, which is very meaningful. It really gets them thinking about the words and discussing the words, and does Pell mean push or driver push or not? But in the workbook, all these words are written across the top, and they would actually write the words on the 2 sides. So to get around the writing part, I made little text boxes that they can drag. So if they say compel means to push together, okay, yes, I'm going to put that on the yes side. So they can drag them. What's one? Pellet does not mean driver push. They just drag, so I call these draggables. You can drag it to where it belongs. So in conclusion, If you're looking for a way to replace paper notes and activities, consider using a Google slide deck. You'll be able to add as much scaffolding to support your students as they need. You can also get creative with activities to make them more engaging than a typical workbook might be. Having their work online in a Google Classroom makes it quick and accessible for you to check for understanding. So I hope you found that helpful and that I explained it well enough for you to try making your own master slides in a Google slide deck for an interactive notebook. Thank you.